paint on canvas, as it ages, sometimes becomes transparent. When that happens, it is possible in some pictures to see the original lines. A tree will show through a woman's dress. A child makes way for a dog. A large boat is no longer on an open sea. That is called pentimento, because the painter repented, changed her mind. Perhaps it would be as well to say that the old conception, replaced by a later choice, is a way of seeing, and then seeing again. That is what I mean about the women in this film. The paint is aged now, and I wanted to see what was there for me once, what is there for me now.
Carol developed this company that was called the Dance Ensemble. It was very unique. It was strictly jazz.
We took lessons in this auditorium. Carol basically rented rooms at the Y. I have to tell you, I don't even remember what went on during the class. I just remember I was mesmerized and I thought, I want to do this. I have to do this. I have to be a part of this.
When we would do a show, it was sold out. Everybody wanted to see it. It wasn't just a recital.
You were getting up and you were performing, you were in the moment, you were real. I think people wanted to be a part of that, and I was a part of that from the beginning.
We did those two concerts, 71 and 72 at the university. We got really good reviews. Tom did the set, and they had a snow fence upstage, and they brought down the battens, and then they took the snow fence and they opened it up and they put it over the battens, and then they lifted them up, and then with the lights it looked like spikes, it looked like nails. It was so powerful and so simple. So much of my life felt destined. I've had a series, a string of events along the way that it's like watching a preview for a movie.
So growing up, I took dancing lessons. I think my whole life was surrounded by me going to dancing. My expectations with my life were that I was going to be an actress.
I had no expectation for my own life. You were expected to be a Lawrence. You were expected to act like a Lawrence, to behave like a Lawrence, and you didn't have your own individual expectations. You had familial expectations.
Many people thought that I should be a nurse, but my expectation for me was to be mother.
So clearly, if you have no expectations, it's not a very heavy lift to reach the expectations.
I guess there may have been an expectation on somebody's part that I would dance. And I did dance professionally for a considerable amount of time. But I somehow evolved into teaching. It's interesting how we choose professions that exorcise our demons.
When I was sailing and we were going to go from Boston to Bermuda, my challenge was about to be huge.
I think the things that you did that were daring that didn't work out, I think were stupid, and the things that you did that were daring that worked out were positive.
And I had a day, this was another time, but I was really sad, and I was walking up the court behind the houses in Clay Avenue, and I was looking down, and I stopped because between two bricks, or two of the cobbles, was a violet. Oh, God. And, oof, that was so powerful. That was so powerful. Because there's this perfect violet just coming up saying, somehow hang in there. It's okay, just hang in there.
I have found almost in every instance where I've sort of not been happy with the choices that I've made, it's because of ego attachment. You know, they say when you die, you know, one of the things you want to be able to do is to leave your ego attachments behind you so you can move forward. And I don't know if I'm at that point yet. I'm still very ego attached.
After my dad died, actually, I was standing in the bedroom with my husband, Bob, in our house. And I said to him, I don't know. I said, it's just so hard to go on. 3 months later, almost to the day, my husband was killed in an automobile accident. I didn't know how much money he made. I didn't know what to do with the house. I didn't know what to do with the children.
There was a big hurricane off land. You have to steer into this wave, and you're looking up, really looking up at the top of it, the crest. And then when you sail down, you have to turn and slide down sideways so that you're not getting a really big rolling action. The boat would be heeled over about every 7 or 8 seconds, so you're level with the water. It was just all over the deck, and in the middle of the night, you know that if you fell over the side, nobody would know. I was probably 21, 22 years old. I thought to myself, this is the first time in my life I ever realized that I was mortal, that there could be an end to my life.
My most significant accomplishment, I guess, is my life. That I'm still here and that I'm still doing what I do and that I love what I do. I know what I'm good at, and so I can own that. I don't have to pretend to be more than what I am, because whatever I am seems to be sufficient.
The way I look at life is that it's sort of that canvas that's blank, and what we do is the painting that we're creating. So for me, I think my accomplishment is that I did what I wanted to do. I actually did kind of follow my bliss.
Making the transition from defining myself as a dancer to redefining or to discovering who I was or who I am without being a dancer. But I had to take that creative nature and move it to a new life, move it to a new channel. I think creativity is absolutely vital to my nature.
I love the fact that I could choreograph dancing. I could hear music and I could see steps to it. And then I was lucky enough to start creating window treatments where I used my hands, and where other people saw a piece of material on a bolt, I saw a drapery, I saw a bedspread.
Professionally, I have to say that the Drew House, which involves diverting women who are charged with felonies and who have children out of prison and into a residential program where they can stay with their children and receive wraparound services and get rehabilitated. If that's the only thing I ever do, you know, with my career at this point, that will have been enough. So, DA's office.
I think that the most surprising thing was becoming a sailor. I was the one that said, yeah, I'll go up to the top of the mast and oil the rig, which is kind of crazy. I had to prove that I could do whatever any other guy could do.
I must admit, it's surprised all the time. I mean, every time you turn around, it's a different decade with different feelings and different people, and so it's been continual surprises for me.
I left the mountains of Pennsylvania, the Poconos, to live at the beach in Ocean City, Maryland, to move down to the warmth of Florida. That surprised me. I always thought I'd stay home.
I think the fact that I ended up in Brooklyn, New York, the fact that I married to the man that I'm married to I'm with him almost 27 years now, so unexpected.
The first time I had photographs developed professionally, I opened the envelope and looked at them, and there was something about this was mine, and nobody could take it away from me. This was mine.
living intensely for 8 to 10 years where the boat is your home and it's your home that you actually take places with you is a whole different experience than when you're traveling on land and you go to a place to stay.
My mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I remember her lying in bed with her silky pajamas on, and she had lost so much weight. And you could see her heart beating through the fabric. It's like, oh my God. It's like, God, if you don't think that's an intimate moment. But to watch her go through that process and to be a part of that process with her, I remember her just looking at me and saying to me, I really am going to die, aren't I? It was like, whoa, to be there at that moment of her revelation, of her life. Wow, wow.
One of the times that really struck home with me was with my brother David, who is 63. And he is mentally challenged, shall we say, politically correct. I like to say mentally retarded, because to retard something is to slow it down. It's not to stop it. It's not to make it go backwards. He had done something that I didn't like him doing. And I said to him, who the hell do you think you are? And he looked me right in the eye and he said, I'm nobody. And at that point, I understood that words had meanings and that you really have to watch what you're saying to people.
I look back on my life and I think that my friendships with women that I've had were among the most intimate relationships that I've had emotionally, and I say this as somebody who's been married for 27 years who loves her husband. Sometimes I look at him and I think, who are you? Who are you? What? And do you really get me at all? But I think that every woman who's married to a man ends up feeling that way at some point.
At one point, I remember in Annapolis, Maryland, anchored, and I had to cry. And for no specific reason that I knew, but I just felt that it was all tight right here. And I had a friend, Annie, and I asked Annie, it was difficult. I said, I just wanted her to hold me and let me cry.
Last week, there was something that happened with this young woman, and everything got quiet in the room, and I was focusing on her, and I said, you're our teacher right now, so stay with where you are. And I realized that there are so many moments of intimacy in people's lives, in my life, in the work that I do. And I treasure that. I really value that, because it's the best, that there's an atmosphere and a safety that people can reveal not only to themselves, parts of themselves, but to a room full of people.
Many years have passed since the days of the ensemble. Often my mind flashes back to our friendships. Of course, the original sources of memory are beyond our reach, but through film and photography, we can recreate the past. The broken fragments become whole, and as we are covering the distance from past to present, who we were then becomes who we are now.